Okay, guys, so this is my question. So what is your perception of the automotive industry? As I said earlier, me and my boss have been looking into this because there's a demise of students coming into the automotive sector. So we wanted to know whether it is about, whether it's wages, whatever, you know, what they don't like about it. Is it something that they want to go into or not? Okay, so this is my introduction. Okay, so so I'm going to be exploring the perception of the automotive industry. Okay. Understand what people really think about the automotive industry. You know, is it cold, moist, you know, wet? Is it low wages and all that kind of other things? Also, my target audience are 14, 15, 16-year-olds that are coming up to year 11 that are going into, you know, into the working environment, and their parents, to see what, you know, what do they want to do and how they're going to decide to go, whether into the automotive industry or whether they want to go somewhere else. I'm going to focus on check if the traditional ideas about the industry still hold or if new factors are shaping their opinions. So there could be many factors, i.e. new technologies, you know, EV. Is it the wages still that's a problem? Is it because it's cold, wet and, you know, a dirty place to work? Is it because you can get injuries? Then I'm going to cover the perceptions, dive into pay, working conditions, and if they required skills. And then I'm going to also, I'm going to use surveys. That's what I've mainly done, surveys. I have done a sort of an interview thing, but I haven't documented it really. I've just sort of asked questions to people I know. And then I'm going to investigate into technology-driven changes. And then also I'm going to aim to contribute the insights and would shape the automotive industry in the coming years. You know, which way would you want to go? Is it worth going down that way? Is it worth coming into the automotive industry? Is there going to be an automotive industry in the future? Okay, guys, can you see the next one that's come through?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is my secondary literature and what I found. So what I found is pretty good was the IMI. They pretty much done the same exact research that I was doing, so it has helped me a great deal. But they've gone more in depth. Obviously, this is a small scale. So what I'm going to go through now is just some of the things that what they've said and what they've gone into, and then I might choose a couple of other articles that I've gone through and just speak about them as well. So in the IMI, which I found pretty good, they have gone for a younger, so I'm aiming mine at the 14, 15, 16-year-olds. They have as well, but they've gone younger, 7 to 11-year-olds. And so they've the sort of questions they would ask, like, you know, what do you think about cars and the automotive industry? And this is why they have chose that they would choose. They said, I've always been inspired by fixing cars and other types of vehicles. The others have said, oh, my granddad and my daddy used to work into cars, which is why a lot of people get into cars, is that their parents or grandparents taught them on the drive, you know, how to fix things and how to do it. And now another one says, maybe my dad, maybe it's because my dad is a recovery driver. That's why I want to do lorry. I want to drive lorries and do things like that. And then there's also things why they wouldn't. They don't want to see any blood or any grease or anything like that. I'm not that type of. I'm not into that type of thing. It sounds boring, which I can vouch for. It would be messy, and I would have to have a bath. And these are obviously the 7 to 11-year-olds. Yes, of course, you'd have to have a bath afterwards. And I don't like working with vehicles unless they are space rovers. Don't know what a space rover is, but that's what they're looking at. So that you can see this is the younger kind of thing, you know, that getting dirty. So that's exactly what I was looking at in one of my questions is it because it's cold, wet, dirty? They don't want to, you know, be rolling around on the floor, you know, snow dripping down their backs when they're, you know, working under cars and whatnot. So as we move on to the 14 to 15, 16-year-olds, they get, you know, a little bit more or better answers really. So they're asking, you know, because they want to be going into their next field is going into work or going into apprenticeships, you know. So the things they were asking or saying was, I think it would be cool to design and create new vehicles. I mean, that's a new thing that we're doing anyway. new vehicles are being made all the time, new designs, there's new technologies. Another person said fixing cool cars and making people happy. I suppose if you fix their car, they'll be happy afterwards once it's fixed. Ensuring vehicles are safe and then for saving lives, absolutely, yeah. But you've got a lot of pressure with that as well. So you've got to make sure it's right, the brakes are right, or the welding's correct, because potential life risk. Coming up with new designs for more sustainable, eco-friendly cars. That's what we're doing every day. That's what people are designing all the time. What else? One thing. Cars are bad for the environment. So this is the bad side of things. Cars are bad for the environment, and could be doing something more worthwhile, like being a scientist or something like that. So it is, it's up and down kind of thing where they go with that. So that's with the IMI. And if you look at my other one, our article, it's called Haggerty. This one is quite interesting, really. It's about the automotive industry itself, and it's like a magazine article kind of thing. It says, is the automotive industry in repair? It's in need of repair itself. Well, is that what the problem is? Is that why people aren't coming into the industry? Is that why people have got this? Oh, actually, I'm not going there. Because when I might refer to myself a lot, but when I was younger, as soon as I got into the trade, my mentor or people around me were saying, get out the trade, it's rubbish, it's not worth doing. So on this, it says, so I thought, well, is it because, so in this article it's saying, is it because of the wages? Is the wages so low? But since COVID, and there's no people going into the trade, the wages have started to creep up, which is brilliant, but there's no one going into the trade still. So, you need to, if the wages keep going up and up and up, that's fine, but you need someone to fill that. So we need students to come in to fulfill that. Is it because of the technology? Is it because it's hard? Is it because there's electric vehicles coming and then you have to, use your brain a bit more kind of thing? Or is it because of the wages, which I've just said? Sorry, my bad. And then the next one is professional motor mechanic, which is another article. And this one's just pretty much about, is it male dominated? Are women put off with that? Because one of the questions that I've handed out and received back was, it's just male dominated. I don't want to work there because it's full of males, which I can understand, I suppose. But why is that? Why don't they like that? And how can we change it? I've myself got 3 or 4 females in my class, and they love and they're thriving off it. So it'd be good to know if we could, all my questions coming back are anonymous, so I can't really see if it's females answered that, or I can't see what parents have said. Do you know what I mean? So that's a thing to look into. Okay, I'm going on to my next slide. Can you let me know if you see it? It's my hypothesis.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so what I thought, what my findings would be is what I think was pretty much bang on. Okay, so the perception of tough working environment, it is a hard working environment. It is in the winter, especially now, it's freezing. The doors go open and shutting all the time, so it's cold. You can't get warm unless you're running around working. So it says here, many think working in the automotive industry is hard and not welcoming. Why is it not welcoming? And then another one is low pay and high stress. I can vouch for that. When I first started, and then getting into teaching, the page just started to go up. But when I first started, it was low. It was, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week you had to work that many hours to get your pay up, which is not fair, I don't think. So yeah, technicians believed to be paid too little, and the face of stress due to heavy workloads. Lack of interest in cars, is that what it is? The lack of interest, because I thought every 14, 15, 16-year-old would want to be going into the automotive industry, racing cars, or doing things like that. So common perception that most people aren't interested in cars, making the industry less appealing. Okay, so there's the stereotypes, so negative stereotypes. Jobs in the automotive sector are often seen for people with lower academic abilities. That's what it was when I was 14, 15. If you're not very smart, i.e. myself, that's where you're headed down. But then I soon realized that's not the case. You have to be very switched on to work on vehicles. You have other people's safety in mind. things that is just getting your brain to work is incredible, especially the engine. Untidy, unpleasant working conditions. So the industry is viewed as untidy, unclean, cold and moist, contributing a negative image of working conditions. So yes, it is, like I said before, it is cold, it is damp. You know, you've got to get cars, customers want their car back constantly all the time, and they want it back before they've even crashed it or anything like that. They want it. It's crazy how fast they want the car back. And then the last one is negative image. So factors like low pay, heavy workloads, negative stereotypes, concerns about the cleanliness combined create a view that the automotive industry is a challenging and less desirable work environment. Pop to the next one. So, like, I think I've said this a bit before. So who is my audience? 14, 16-year-olds. Want to see what they thought about coming into it. I don't know if you know, but my body shop in here at the college is being shut this year. So we wanted to know why aren't the colleges the students coming into this. I wanted to obviously ask their parents. So their parents telling them, no, we don't want you to go into it because of these stereotypes. And it would be good, like I said earlier, it would be good to see how many females took part in this, so we can see what they thought. So maybe I'll have to dive into that a little bit deeper. How long have I got left, guys? Do you know?
Are you getting on for just over 10 minutes at the minute? So
right, okay, perfect. Right, I'll smash it now. Okay, okay. So this is my qualitative questions. It says, do you feel that it's a unclean job? And then six people. I think I've had 16 people responses. So 6 people said sometimes. I think 3 people. Can't even see myself. 3 people said all the time. Only if you make it unclean, which I think 5 people have said, and then 1 person said yes, those said no, and 1 said maybe, I believe. Yes, it is unclean. It is untidy. You're going to get dirty. You know, you're going to get injured. You're going to, cut yourself. So it is bad. So maybe that's what it is, because they don't want to get dirty. Is everything going down the desktop way, where everyone's working on desktops? That's, like I said, that's something else we need to dive into. And this is what I asked the question: what would you expect to be paid as an apprentice? And apprentices now are getting paid crazy money. So as you look at my pie chart, it says all the different prices what they are on, and they are actually on £5.28 to £6.8p, and I think that's crazy money for a apprentice. I mean, I was on about £1.30 when I was an apprentice. Yes, that was 20 years ago, granted. So is it wages? Is it too low for them? And they're thinking, no, I can get better money for that somewhere else, or go into a desk job. I don't know. And there's 3 questions on here, quantitative. So I'll do the middle one because I can see that one. Do you think it's a highly skilled job? So 50% said yes. 20% said sometimes. 15% said no, and then the other said not. 15% not sure. So some people think it's just like swapping things over, just changing oil and stuff like that. It's so much more than that, especially in the damage sector that I'm in. It is a highly skilled job. So if people are getting the wrong stereotype that it's not, then they are truly wrong. The other question is, do you think that the trade is for less academic people? That is the stereotype. It's really not. That's what I got branded as. You're only doing that because you're not very bright, which is true. But I've proved them all wrong by getting all my qualifications. But if you look closer, guys, you can see what people have answered on my forms. And the other question is, what is your perception of the automotive industry? I won't go into them all because I'm worried about time, but that's the main question. Some of people are just going, oh, hard work for poor pay, which is correct, what I said in my hypothesis. It needs funding, absolutely. Long hours for little rewards, absolutely, yeah. So I agree with everything that they said. Moving on. Okay, ethical issues. So when conducting my research, okay, so I'm not going to read that out to you guys, but if you want to read that is what I've said into my my consent letter when I sent off. So basically, the reason I've done this because I was going to the younger, so it wasn't people who were in college or anything like that, or over 18. I was going people who were 14, 15, 16. So I needed to get their parents' consent to say they can do it. But also, I wanted their parents to have a go at the social forms themselves. And then, so I only had about 16 responses. Was it because they couldn't be bothered to do it? Was it because, oh, they've got to sign this form, then send, email it me back? But yeah, so the reason I've done this, obviously, because it was the younger children, if you will. And then I'm going to move on to the conclusion. So in summary, my small-scale research, important insights how to students see the automotive industry. Most students think the work environment is cold, moist and dirty. Surprisingly, you don't have to be super academic for a career in cars. Also, it looks like more guys work in the car industry. Yes, we know that. So more males work in the automotive industry. Do we know why? It's a tough one. So we might want to think about including more diversity. Absolutely. These results show it's more important to break stereotypes and show that there are different opportunities in the car world. And that brings it to an end, guys. There's my references at the end for the what I've been working on. Has any of you got any questions?
Well done, Matt.
Was that any good?
Yes, it was. How did you feel?
I think it went better than I thought. I thought I was going to be a stuttering mess, and I'm glad I've gone first now. So yeah, I thought it's gone all right. I think hopefully I've included everything that I needed to include. Is there anything that you need to ask me, questions that I might have missed? Yes, Dale.
Well, I was just going to ask you say diversity is a clear way forward to promoting. What other solutions to the problems, would you suggest?
To be honest, I think we need to look into that. To be honest with you, I don't know what to. Is it that stereotype that females go to be a nurse or be a hairdresser? Are we still in that order? Males going to be a footballers or mechanics and working on cars. How do we stop that? Yes, there are more females coming in. I've got 3 or 4 in my class, which is brilliant. But how do we don't know. We're going to have to dive into that a bit more, I suppose.
No worries, thank you.
Any more questions?
Did he miss anything out, Bills?
I think.
Chloe, you're frozen.
All good.
Thank you very much.
Have you stopped the recording?
I don't know.
Can do. Let me just try.
But you have to stop for each one, but I can't stop it.
I think Adam started it, yeah, and I can't stop it because I tried.
Can anyone go in a chat?
I could put it in the chat to Adam.
Yeah, because otherwise they'll all into.
Chloe's froze.
Yeah. I know, I just said that to her. Stop.
Just text now. Connection's coming back, she said.
Okay, I've sent it in.
Cool. Should we wait till he comes in? How long did I do, guys? Was it bang on 15 or just under?
Over.
16.
Winner. I'm so glad that's done now, out of the way.
I don't know if you forgot anything, Matt, but the only thing I think, remember he talked about the thematic analysts last week.
Oh yeah, okay. What, the colour code and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. I didn't have time for that.
That's
so
the
busy.
only thing I would say.
Yeah, well, that's the only thing. And I can.
That's only if he says it, but you did really well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Well, if he says it, I can add it in, can't I? And then you can work on it that way. So.
Stacey, do you want to start? And it's just a full-on record, just on and on and on. Somebody want to monitor your time?
I think you have to send them off there. You have to do them. Do you know what I mean? That's his, because you have to put it on your profile, don't you?
Oh God.
Do you know what I mean? I might be wrong.
Yeah,
but...
you don't have to send it him. You don't have to send him that. This goes to him automatically. All he wants is the presentations.
You're recording, right? Okay.
Anything that you've done, he just wants you to add it into Google.
Oh, there he is. Is he?
Oh, he's here now. Adam, can you stop Adam recording, please? I mean, Matt.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Did you see any of it, Adam, or not?
I did.